Welcome to season 2, episode 15 of the Bulls Recap Podcast. Happy New Year. I am Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You could read me at the Sun-Times. Follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at JCowleyHoops. It's been a mellow follow lately, but it'll get fired up soon and might get you fired up. So follow at your own discretion. So here, look, the good and the bad and the ugly right now of the Bulls, and we've got a plethora of all three. And since I am Mr. Positive, I'm going to start it off with good. The time of this taping is after the Boston game on Monday, January 5th. So we do have a sample size of the last week, and Modest Buchelis, welcome to the hype train that has been on him since the summer. He had a lot of ups and downs, but it finally feels like this is what he was supposed to look like. The last 5 games, 19.2 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game. What I love, 7.4 3-point attempts per game. I mean, he's only shooting 33% from three. That will get better. But the fact that he is decisive, he is not second guessing, he is not thinking. These last 5 games have been, and first of all, you throw in dunk of the year candidate. If you haven't seen the dunk against Orlando and Jalen Suggs, please watch it. I don't know what rock you've been under, but look, I know Jalen Suggs really well. I coached against him in football many, many years ago. He is as competitive an SOB as there is out there. And if you watch the video, he sees Modest coming down, in basically a breakaway. It is just 2 guys. It is Suggs and it is Modest. And Suggs was, like I said, a hell of a football player. And you see him saying, okay, dude, we're going to dance. I'll meet you at the top floor. The problem was, Suggs' top floor is the 20th. Modest plays at the penthouse. And he tried to time him up. And 6'8", 6'9", and a white dude that could freaking jump out of the gym, I think he kind of underestimated him. And so that was dunk of the year. And that was only a part. Look, that was a piece of what he's done well and why Bulls fans should be excited in a season of mediocrity and less than mediocrity and very little to be excited about. We had a chance to talk to Modest the other day about what's been going on. Why are these five games? Why are they consistent? What is he doing? What's different? We also talked to some of his teammates and his coach about it. To a man, the overwhelming opinion is that he is decisive. He's not second guessing himself, but now he's not getting stuck on the bad plays. I mean, you can talk to Patrick Williams. This is year 6 for Patrick Williams, and he still gets stuck in the bad moments. So it's not an easy thing for all guys to get over and become immune to that. The great ones do. And I think Modest has a chance to be great because he wants to be great. But if you look at what he's done and just the attitude in which he's done it, this is exciting. In a year where there's not a lot to grab onto, this is exciting. So that's the main thing. Kobe White said, the vets talk to him. They let him know that they're confident in him, and they let him know a lot lately, stop beating yourself up for bad plays. Flip the page, get to the next play. He's done that. That's a huge step in the developmental process for a guy who didn't play college basketball. He played G League Ignite. That was just 13th grade with beers. I mean, that's all that was. They rolled the ball out. There wasn't a lot of coaching. The guys that played there for G League Ignite that one year did not really develop a lot. If you look at the draft and the guys that were also on that team with Modest. So great athletes, just not taught to be good basketball players. So he basically just took a redshirt year of playing playground basketball. And so this has been a huge, huge, huge jump for him. And now it's, can you keep it up? You've shown it now. You showed flashes of it. Now you've shown some consistency of it over a 10-day period, a 2-week period. Now can you be that guy rest of the year? Obviously, and this will bleed into the bad because we're doing the good, the bad, and the ugly. This will bleed to the bad. Obviously, with Josh Giddey in street clothes, with Kobe White in street clothes for 3 of the games, and now back, but out of minutes restriction, and wasn't even starting his first game back. And then obviously Zach Collins. Not that Collins steals shots, but Giddey and Kobe White do take shots away from what Modest has been doing. They're gone. That obstacle isn't in the way. He's been the second highest scorer behind Vooch, and only slightly. Vooch is 20 a game, and like I said, Modest is 19.2. So that's been good to see. That's something 2026, the rest of this season, you could hang your hat on and say, okay, there's not a lot that makes me excited about this team where I don't want to vomit in a can. This guy, as of right now, this guy is someone you could grab onto and say, okay, we got hope. We got Josh Giddey locked up to a contract. We got Modest playing like that. Those are 2 pillars moving forward in a sea of uncertainty. So that's been the good. The bad, I talked about the injuries, Giddey, Kobe. The Giddey thing I'm not worried about. He's fine. He's locked in. He knows he's not going anywhere. It's a hamstring. They're going to be extra cautious with it. They're not in a playoff push, regardless of what Arturas Karnisovas wants to pretend in fantasy land. They are just a team that is kind of just meandering through this Eastern Conference with probably about 4 or 5 other teams in their area code. And it's not a fun area code. It's a cul-de-sac next to a dumpster. So the Giddey injury, I'm not worried about. They'll take their time with him. He hasn't started running full sprints yet. He's shooting. He's doing some things. They'll reevaluate him in another week. And if everything goes well, then they'll put him on, get him ramped up. That may take another week. So I'm saying probably 3rd week of January would be best case scenario for Giddey. Zach Collins, big week for him. He gets reevaluated at the end of this week with the sprained toe. They'll have a better idea on him. But, Vooch and Jalen Smith, I think, have been holding things down. Jalen Smith's in concussion protocol. They don't feel there's any reason he won't be out of that shortly. But the Kobe White thing, this is what's bad. This is the 3rd time the calf has popped up. It's not the right calf strain from the summer that cost him 3 months and 11 regular season games and conditioning and just has thrown his entire season off kilter. Then the left one had some tightness. They had to shut him down for that. Came back. They shut him down for 3 games, came back. Everything's going well. They play him in a back-to-back. Very next game after the back-to-back, he checked out. He was fine. Felt tightness against Minnesota, had to come out. Now it's back to the right calf. So another 3 games. As it looks right now, I would venture to say because they are searching for answers, the medical staff, when I say they, are searching to figure out what to do with this guy and talking to Kobe several times in the last couple days. He's not conditioned. He still hasn't found his rhythm. He says he'll figure it out. I said, well, how do you know you're going to figure it out? He said, because there's a resume that says I can figure it out. So I'm gonna take him by his word because if there's one dude you don't doubt, it's him. I've learned that the hard way. So I think he will figure it out, but when and on what team? This thing is, we are beginning of January. We are 1 month away from the NBA trade deadline. And they have to make a decision on a guy who is an unrestricted free agent, turned down a contract extension, bet on himself for this season, and is hell-bent on making it to July and going shopping and finally getting that big contract that's eluded him. So he's told that to teams that potentially asked about trading for him. Minnesota comes to mind. And are teams in such peril, or do teams see such an opening where he's a final piece that they'll say, we'll kick that can down the road, your contract future, be damned. Let's just get you here, get you playing, make sure you are healthy. Will that all come to fruition in a month? I mean, that's tough. The reality of the situation is the Bulls, if they do move him, will not get what they think they should get for him. They just won't. whether it's taking a bad contract back and a draft asset, or taking a player, a young player that is kind of not someone else's headache, but someone else's, we can part with this guy if we can get Kobe White because we think he's a piece. So that's the bad in all this. It is the calf problems are not only a problem for the Bulls, they're a big problem for Kobe White, because how do you want to present yourself? He's not a guy that's had injury history beyond the norm. So this is a guy that usually plays hard. So it's a bad year for him to be dealing with calves. And the problem is, we've seen the last couple of years, calves have turned into Achilles, and Achilles have turned into season enders and surgery, and you reformatting and rebooting your entire career. So, that's where we're at with him, and that's why it's bad. It's not that he's injured. It's the timing of him being injured and what to do with him as the clock is ticking on this trade deadline. So that's the bad. The ugly, it's been confirmed. What is probably the worst kept secret the entire year: Atlanta is done with Trae Young. Thank goodness, because I've been done with Trae Young for years. I find his style of basketball very unserious. He is a defensive liability is too kind. He is as big a turnstile as there is. He still takes clown shots. He's not the only one. LaMelo Ball, unserious. Thank goodness for Con Knipple, like I always thought would be the adult in that room, and has Charlotte actually competing and raising the level of the other guys, whether it's Bridges or Miller or whoever. They look like a real NBA team instead of Chico, California, a ball brother running the show and just wanting to do squirrely, crazy things and everyone having to put up with it because his talent is so high and what he does is great. It's the Globetrotters. I mean, it's not real sustainable winning NBA basketball. Maybe LaMelo Ball kind of gets in line here. Had a chance to see him the other night. Didn't feel like he was. They won. The Hornets beat the Bulls, but I don't think it was because of LaMelo Ball. So the trade buzz around, especially around unserious basketball players like Trae Young, has started. So I know what you're saying. This is a Bulls podcast. Who cares about Trae Young? You should care, because there's a domino effect possibly that could come from this. Say Trae Young, say Milwaukee is the one place that wants Trae Young, or Washington for some reason is a rumor. I think Mark Stein reported that. Don't understand why they would be, but Washington, just when you think they're smart and they have a plan, they do stupid stuff. So if it's a three-way and the Bulls jump in it, do not ignore the name Zachary Ricochet. He was the number one pick for the Hawks. He flashed a couple times last year. I think he had a 30-point game. He has fallen kind of out of favor with the emergence of some other guys. His minutes in the rotation have been cut down. He kind of seems like he's not Josh Giddey, because Giddey had been there a couple years at OKC, and then in the playoff push, they realized, hey, this guy can't play defense. He doesn't fit in what we want to do to become a championship-level team. The Hawks are not there. Ricochet is not there. But what he is, he's someone else's young, talented piece that hasn't worked out. He's a Euro for some reason. Arturis is trying to collect as many Euros as he can, but okay. Or as many non-American basketball players, it seems. Okay. Maybe he helps Essengay, because both French players and his development, I don't know. But if there's a three-way, that's how, and Kobe White could go to Atlanta. So, there have to be another team involved. But this is the ugly that is happening right now, is unserious basketball players are suddenly being finally realized by the organization that, you know what, we put up with this for a lot of years. We got to try moving it. And it's a $45, $50 million contract that they're trying to move. Good luck. It's going to be very difficult. I give Atlanta credit. They are making it public. They are working with Trae Young and finding him a spot that he wants to go to. Charlotte is not there with LaMelo Ball. There is no, there was a couple rumors earlier in the year that they would look to ship him, but his contract is huge. Good luck with that. They may have to let that run its course a couple more times. Another name to keep an eye on. Old Bull Zach LaVine coming back to the East. Does Atlanta try making a deal with Sacramento and send Trae Young there? Our bad contract for your bad contract. Zach's always been a hawk killer. I don't know exactly how he fits in because he's not a pure point guard, and they still would need somebody that's more of a ball handler, but he could play the point guard for him. He's a better defender than Trae Young, and you don't really say that about a lot of comps when you're talking about Zach LaVine, but he's definitely a better defender. So, and Atlanta seems to really feel like they have young pieces that are ready to make a playoff push, but they have this anchor, this weight of an unserious guy holding them down. So that's the ugly. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly. To flip the calendar to 26. So let's go to the island. It all feeds into each other. If the Atlanta Hawks have decided it's time for us to do something, if teams like Washington are saying it's time for us to do something, how the hell can the Bulls and Arturas Karnisovas not say it's time for us to do something? They cannot just ride this out the next month and say we didn't get what we wanted. We didn't like the deals out there, because you're going to take a bad deal. When you overhold your assets and you don't fold your hand when you should, or you try and play a hand that you shouldn't, this is what it looks like. You are going to get caught with bringing back stuff you don't love. It is not going to be pennies on the dollar. It is probably less than that. And you have to be okay with that. You have to say, what's the most we can get? Can we get a couple second-round picks and possibly a young player that we can take a we'll see flyer on? That might be it. That might be what Kobe White brings back. If you can package it and find something bigger, whether it's Vooch, Collins, Herter, whatever it is, whatever you have to do, Javon Carter, if you have to kick that $6-7 million contract in for somebody, you just do it. You have to. You cannot continue running the stagnant product out. It's not fair for the players that are on the roster. More importantly, it is not fair for this fan base who, when you look around the United Center, some of the suites are dark, but for the most part, the seats are filled. Asses are in the seats. So it is not fair for them to continue just to pretend this fantasy of competitive integrity that you could keep running it out. You can't. Please do something. It's time. The teams around you, teams worse than you, understand that they have to do something. Everything in the Eastern Conference from the middle down is screaming, do whatever you can to get out of this. So, it's on Arturas now. He's a lot smarter than I am. So, all right, let's go to the list. A couple months ago, I did let's redraft the sophomore class. And I want to say Modest was maybe third or fourth at the time. It's time to redo that list. Just watching, first of all, he's probably the most available and the most durable so far out of that group. That goes without saying. Castle, he's played 26, 27 games, whatever it is. That's fine. Alex Sarr's missed some games. Modest by far has been the most durable. And over the last week to 10 days, maybe even 2 weeks, you could argue he's probably been the best player out of that class. I think he's the leading scorer out of that class the last 2 weeks. But so if I had to redraft it right now, I'd still go Castle number one. I still think he is a star in the making. The Spurs are playing really good basketball. They're probably a year ahead of what was projected. Castle is a big reason why. When he plays, he is. I mean, obviously, he has the monster that is Wemby. When you play alongside that, but I mean, even last year when Wemby was shut down, Castle really flashed. There's something about him. He's just a fearless, doesn't care about the moment type of player. So I'd still go him number one by an inch. I mean, this thing is close. Number two is Modest, who I talked about earlier. I think is finally coming into his own. I'd probably say he's might even have a higher ceiling than Castle because the developing 3-point shot at 6'9", the ability to attack the rim, and not that Castle doesn't attack the rim. He's also vicious at the rim. But the piece that Modest adds is shot blocking. He's still leading the Bulls in shot blocking. And I don't even think he's had a great shot blocking month. I think he's been okay. But he's added to the rebounds, which I think is huge. And like I said, I think his ceiling is a little bit higher as far as just raw all-around talent. Number three, still Alex Sarr. I mean, I think the film's out on him. He's been not as good as he was the first 6 weeks of the season. AJ Mitchell from OKC. I put him 4. I'd like to see him somewhere else, what he would look like. Obviously, he's just he's putting up numbers, and that's a hard team to fight minutes for and put up numbers. So credit to him. And then number 5, Reed Shepherd. I'm a big Shepherd guy. We talked about Shepherd a couple times in the summer as a possible trade for the Bulls when Fred VanVleet went down, if they would try and acquire a guard, a Kobe White, an Io, would Reed Shepherd, would they part with him? They did not. We're starting to see why. I love Reed Shepherd. He's not a great defender, but I think he's got great hands. I think he's a great deflection type guy that causes chaos. He doesn't have defensive footwork to get in front of guys, but I do think his hands are so good that he can mess up plays. I think all his numbers are improving. And again, he is a 4th option, 5th option on that team. And you're starting to see him flash some nights and take that role. He's kind of a combo guard like Kobe, probably more of an off guard than Kobe is. But yeah, I got him number 5. So that's the list. Redraft, Modest, congratulations. You are up to number 2 with a little asterisk. Maybe in a couple months, end of the season, you could be number 1. Finally, before I get off this thing, I want to tell a quick story. So my dad passed this past weekend, and it is Bulls related. The one thing about my dad, he likes Cleveland sports. You know, I'm from Cleveland. He's from, they still live in Cleveland. Guardians, he still calls them the Indians because that's the generation. Browns, and that's it. That's all he cares about. He knows I cover the Chicago Bulls, but he doesn't. If I asked him how the Bulls are, he just boxing is his number 1 sport. UFC, violent sports. That's just how he was raised. So, I want to say this about 10, 12 years ago. Brought him. He was visiting Chicago, and and this is when the Bulls were at the Berto. Tibbs is the coach. And anyone that knows Tom Thibodeau, he comes across as surly. He's not. Once you get to know him, I mean, the guy's a sweetheart, but you would never equate sweetheart and Tibbs in the same line. But just trust me on that, he is. So anyway, I bring my dad to the practice facility. The Bulls are practicing that day, and you have to tell my dad, "Hey, you got to stay in the media room. Otherwise, he'll just wander around. He doesn't care. He's unapologetically himself, doesn't give a damn what people think about him." So I'm like, you got to stay here in this media room. Anyone that's been at the old Berto, the media room was kind of like a little closet off the court. And so we go into the court and we're interviewing Tibbs, and I don't remember the players. It was me, Casey Johnson. I don't remember who else was on the beat at the time. Maybe Vince Goodwill. And unbeknownst to me, Tim Hallam, the old public relations director, goes into the media room, starts talking to my dad. Tim, salt of the earth, great guy. And he's like, yeah, I guess I wasn't part of this conversation. Do you want to come and see the practice floor and see what your son's doing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, my dad doesn't care. Goes out there. Now, my dad, besides being a black belt in karate, way back in the day. Huge magic, loves doing magic. He really was really good. I mean, he's good. Not like just like card tricks, a bunch of stuff, but he always has magic tricks on him. So he walks up to the first person that he sees, doesn't care who it is. And Casey Johnson and I are off to the side. I don't remember who we were talking to. And Casey's like, oh, this might not end well. We look over. My dad's doing magic tricks for Tom Thibodeau. Tibbs, I don't know if Tibbs knew who he was. Maybe Tim introduced him. I don't know. And I'm like, Tom Thibodeau during the season is not a guy you do magic tricks for. And God bless him, my dad must have done magic tricks for about 15 minutes with Tibbs. Tibbs did not move. He just sat there. And the tricks were good, so maybe that was part of it. And then, so I finally walk over. I'm like, all right, I got to go rescue Tibbs from my pops. He's probably like, why is this guy who looks like Polly Walnuts, why is he doing magic tricks this long? I got to go watch film. So I go over there. I'm like, all right, Pops, we got to go. We got to let Tom get back to work. And Tom was like laughing. And no, it was great. Enjoyed it. My dad doesn't even know his name. He goes, all right, hope you liked it. He shook his hand. He goes, good luck with the Cubs this year, and walks away. And I looked at Tibbs and I was like, Cubs, Bulls, what the hell's the difference, huh? And Tibbs just laughed and walked away. So that was my dad's meeting Tibbs Bulls story. I just thought of it this week. Obviously, a lot of memories going through. So, yeah, so that's it. Until next week, I got next.